The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, horror fans, and welcome to episode 308 of Frightmares. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for 1987's The Lost Boys is Gabrielle Proctor.
Hello.
Hello. Requested by you, probably.
That seems right.
To do this one. Yeah. We're doing it.
We sure are. And I'll be running this episode now. Thank you very much. So anyway, what are we talking about?
Yeah. I think this was always on the docket to do, as you will learn very quickly. This movie's not for me. Just like a lot of the Oscar winners. I'm like, it's just not for me. My history with this movie is very brief, because I watched it like twice. 2 times.
3 times a lady.
3 times a lady. No, I watched this for the first time because you obviously showed this to me, and that was, March 29th, 2020, and we watched it March 26th, so just like Chopping Mall 2 episodes ago, apparently I watched these movies in March. And I was like, it's been 5 years. Maybe it's entirely possible my opinion will change. This was the second year I was rating movies, and I really wanted it to go up, and it didn't. So
it's okay to be wrong.
Okay, first of all,
Brenda,
I don't harass you for movies that I love that you don't. So,
and that's your choice.
Yeah, it's the mature choice to not berate me.
I don't have to be mature every day. For
not liking a movie. There's plenty of stuff I did like about it. It's not like it's all just hatred or like, all of this movie sucks. And I don't think it sucks. It's just, I don't know. I think there's got to be something I'm missing. So I've seen this movie twice. I remember I bought the 4K for you a while back when it was Best Buy was stopping physical media, and it was like $9. And we were supposed to watch the other 2 Lost Boys movies because, there are 2. The Lost Boys, Lost Harder, and then Lost Boys 3, Here We Go Again. So,
I think it's
the
third,
Tribe. The Tribe and The Thirst.
Is it The Thirst?
I
thought it was Blood something.
It's The Thirst.
That's terrible. Anyway, picking a frog brother to run the franchise was a move.
That was a move. I wonder if he does the same voice.
Oh, 100%. I've seen The Tribe.
Good.
He does.
God almighty.
But interestingly enough, the head vampire in The Tribe is Kiefer Sutherland's younger brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Lost Boys The Tribe and Lost Boys The Thirst. And Corey Feldman's wearing that stupid fucking bandana we'll get to. So you're probably going to have a much more colorful history with this movie than I did. Why don't you tell me about it?
Oh, hell, I don't remember. I've just been watching this movie for years. I honestly don't remember the first time I saw it.
Wow.
I can tell you, though, when we talk about favorite horror moments, my favorite horror moment was the moment that absolutely scared the shit out of me as a kid. And I can remember when I was getting real deep in my into vampires phase in high school. It's not my fault that vampires were very popular when we were in high school. But I had a straight up encyclopedia of vampires. This thing was a good 6 inches thick.
Wow.
And the cover was Kiefer Sutherland's face in his vampire form.
Oh, wow.
But I used to show this movie to people all the time.
Nerd alert.
I like vampires. What?
No, I like vampires, and we'll get into not my issue with vampires, and we've talked about this before, but just the lore that goes into vampires and how It's never consistent enough, and sometimes it's cool because you're like, oh, this particular thing isn't in this universe, but it's also just, it's annoying. I like having established rules with things.
Well, that's part of why I like vampire lore more than werewolf lore, because I like werewolf movies too. But I like that there's so much lore around vampires that people will piece together what they want to do to make theirs different, because in like a majority of vampire films, especially nowadays, vampires are an established thing that exists. You know the basic rules of vampires. And so when you have these moments where you're like, oh, well, I know this and this about vampires and you're proven wrong, then you get these fun little, well, that's just what the media tells you about vampires. It's vampire propaganda. And I just enjoy that there's always just room to move with that whole lore to make something different. Whereas werewolves are pretty much the same, minus some things, but the basic pillar of what werewolves are is not changing.
Yeah, that, I mean, you're not wrong. Oh shit, what was the Jason pick for this week? Oh yeah, there it is. I'm already on to the second Jason pick already. I'm preparing, so I'm getting confused. So we'll get there. Thoughts and feelings will be had about Lost Boys. Positive, negative, all in between. So if that's all you have to say, I thought you were going to have a story and all this and that, but I guess I was wrong.
If I don't tell you the story before the podcast, I probably don't have a story.
That's true.
You have to ask me ahead of time, and then you'll know.
I will preface that next time.
Yeah, get your shit together.
All right, so then let's move on to what did Jason Hill make me watch this week. He made me watch The Video Dead from 1987. A family takes a delivery of a new television set, unaware that it is a gateway by which killer zombies enter the world. Sounds like a good time, right? And while I like the idea of the movie, because it is as cheesy as it sounds, you think it's going to be just a wacky, wild time. I don't know what was missing from this. It just didn't have that thing.
That je ne sais quoi.
That je ne sais quoi. That it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was a good time. I think it was silly. And I like the idea of, like, yeah, TV being a gateway. They're watching a zombie movie, then zombies pop out on the screen and cause havoc. But I wanted it to be a little bit funnier. I wanted it to be a little bit cheesier and campier than it was. It did have incredible practical effects. I think that is probably the biggest thing it had going for it. Really wasn't a recognizable cast outside of, randomly as fuck, Michael St. Michaels was in this, and if you don't know the name, he was one of the two main stars from The Greasy Strangler alongside Sky Elabar. They played father and son, and he popped up in this, and he was so fucking unrecognizable. And I get it, Greasy Strangler was like 2016, The Video Dead 1987. We're talking almost a 30-year difference, but I couldn't see. It just didn't look like him. I was like, is this the same guy? But he had a very small role in the beginning and dies in the first few minutes. I was hoping he was going to be like the main guy. He was not. And outside of that, no one else I recognize. If you look at the pictures on, Letterboxd, ain't nobody got a picture. It's like, all right. So yeah, just wanted a little bit more. But this was on a double feature I had from Scream Factory with Terror Vision. Terror Vision is a wacky fun time. That was incredible. And it's about the same thing, except this time an alien comes through their TV and wreaks havoc on their house. So I understand why they put those two together in the same double feature. Makes a lot of sense. So let's see what Jason had to say about this. 2.5 stars. So this is not a good movie, but it is quite charming. If you like weird movies from the video store days, then give this one a watch if you haven't. I am right on par with Jason at a 2.5 as well, but I did give it a heart because I could tell, they had fun with it. They did the best they could. 2.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. You can watch this on Tubi. I don't think I had anything else to say. No, said that. Oh, wow. Look at me going above and beyond. And I wrote Jason's rating and review in my notes.
And then forgot it was there.
Forgot about that. Didn't expect myself to, do that. So, yeah, you can watch The Video Dead on Tubi. It's 90 minutes. It's a good time. And that is The Video Dead from 1987.
Jason says, check it out. You'll probably hate it.
Thanks, Jason. Let's move on to the highest grossing movies of the year and the Academy Award winners for 1988. Highest grossing movie of the year was Fatal Attraction at $320.1 million. And the highest grossing horror movie of the year was Predator, $98.3 million. This was the 60th Academy Awards presented on Monday, April 1998, honoring movies that came out in 1987. Best actor goes to Michael Douglas for Wall Street.
He was having a big year.
Never heard of that movie. And then we have actor in a supporting role goes to Sean Connery for The Untouchables. Actress goes to Cher for Moonstruck.
Hell yeah, it did.
Which I know you made me watch that a while ago. I think I liked that one. I can't remember.
You don't like me talking about it because every time Nicolas Cage does his I lost my hand speech, I do the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right. Actress in a supporting role is Olympia Dukakis.
Hell yeah, she was.
For Moonstruck. Cinematography goes to Vittorio Storaro for The Last Emperor. Director goes to Bernardo Bertolucci for The Last Emperor. Musical score goes to Ryuichi Sakamoto, David Byrne, and Kong Su for The Last Emperor. And you guessed it, Best Picture goes to The Last Emperor. Yet another movie, just like Amadeus, I thought I was going to hate. And I really enjoyed it. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Boo! Moonstruck was robbed. I mean, granted, I haven't seen The Last Emperor. I've seen Untouchables.
Well, let me tell you about it. So I love the IMDb description of this because it's just Bernardo Bertolucci's Oscar-winning dramatization of China's 11th and final monarch of the Qing dynasty, Emperor Puyi. Like, got it.
Dude, I just watched 12 Years a Slave, where the description is a man recounts his years as a
slave
being sold into slavery. You're like, all right then, thanks, guys. The detail.
The Wolf of Wall Street. There's a wolf on Wall Street. So this was yet another nearly 3-hour fucking movie. These biopics are killing me. I also find it hilarious because it is wild to think that anybody in this movie would be speaking fucking English. They're in China. They're going to be speaking Chinese or Mandarin. I'm not saying no one in China would be capable of knowing English, but it doesn't make any sense, especially a fucking 3-year-old. I don't think he would be speaking English. So I know this was an Eastern movie made for Western audiences, so I get that they had to put it in English. I just thought it was hilarious.
I actually just experienced that where I was going to watch a series, but the opening was an African tribe where they're straight up speaking English from the start. And I'm like,
nope.
That's really off-putting, and I don't like it. I'm moving on.
The Grand Empress, before she passed away, had a dog called Peony. And what I heard was pee on me, which I thought was really out of pocket to say to a 3-year-old kid, but I rewound it and put the subtitles on. Like, okay.
It's a flower. She
also had a mini stage that she got pushed around on. Goals, because that was really cool. Fucking Victor Wong and Dennis Dunn from Big Trouble in Little China and Prince of Darkness show up in this. I was like, hey, recognizable faces. That's cool. Much like Three Men and a Baby, there is full frontal child nudity, which just seems insanely inappropriate.
The 80s.
It's like he hops out of the bath that he's in, run towards the camera, just everything out. Guys, let's not.
Look, child laws were so different back in the day. Hell, they had to create child law, and I can't remember the actor, because the parents used to just take the money, and then these kids would be getting worked like fucking workhorses, and then they'd become adults, and your parents spent all your money. And so now they have laws to prevent that kind of shit because kids got exploited. They just didn't see them as people because they're children.
Yeah. So that was weird. And right after that, there was a woman right next to the kid that was sleeping with the titty out. Don't know what that was about. If he's still feeding at 3, that feels insanely inappropriate. And then later, he was definitely breastfeeding when he was much older. Again, don't know what's going on in this movie. And then the last thing I was not a fan of was I'm pretty sure there was an underage threesome. I don't know if because they introduced the new Empress to Puyi, and she was 17 or something like that. And I don't know if they jumped ahead in time before they had the threesome, but they were under the covers fooling around doing it. And it's just like, man, there's a lot of children things in this movie. Anyways, beyond all of that, beyond all of the weirdness that it's like, it's hard to fault it because it was the 80s and shit was just different then. So it's still just weird to me. I think the story was quite fascinating, to be honest, because it's just like Gandhi. I didn't really know anything about the person, and it was pretty accurate to his life. And apparently this is very accurate to the biography or autobiography that was done on him or something like that. So definitely a really interesting movie that I learned a lot about. So I gave it a 3.5. The Last Emperor has a 3.9 out of 5, and you can watch it currently on Max. I forgot to give my review of Platoon on the last episode, so I'll go ahead and do that now if my phone would stop fucking off. So my review on Platoon was 4 likes, by the way. Voluntarily enlisting in the Vietnam War is wild. And The Last Emperor, my review is, call me crazy, but the full frontal child nudity was extremely unnecessary. So that is The Last Emperor. Check it out. If you're ready to move on, we can.
Sure.
Okay. Mm-hmm. IMDb Roundup. Bam! This is The Lost Boys from 1987, released on July 31st of that year in the U.S., rated R for mild sex and nudity, moderate violence and gore, mild profanity, mild alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and moderate frightening and intense scenes. I do not feel this needed an R rating. If I'm being quite honest, PG-13 would have sufficed.
Yeah, the bonfire scene, though.
There's not nearly enough here for me to consider this an R-rated movie. It was not scary to me at all. Runtime of 1 hour and 37 minutes, listed as a comedy horror. Directed by Joel Schumacher, who also directed Flatliners, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, and The Number 23. So he likes to work with Kiefer Sutherland and Jim Carrey. Written by Jan Fisher, who also wrote The Lost Boys, The Tribe. Also written by James Jeremias, who also wrote The Lost Boys, The Tribe. Then we have Jeffrey Boam, who also wrote The Dead Zone, Lethal Weapon 1 through 3, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Composed by Thomas Newman. Yes, that Newman, Randy Newman's cousin, who also composed The Shawshank Redemption, WALL-E in 1917.
Like so much stuff.
Well, yeah. Cinematography by Michael Chapman, who also did the cinematography for Taxi Driver, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Raging Bull, and Space Jam.
Just that one out-of-pocket.
Had to.
And at the end there.
Had to. Edited by Robert Brown, who also edited Damien the Omen 2, The Amityville Horror, and Flatliners. We have starring Jason Patric as Michael, who was also in Terrifier 3 as Michael.
Subtle.
Really just stepping it up in the world. Corey Haim as Sam, who was also in Silver Bullet as Marty Koslow. Diane Wiest as Lucy, who was also in Edward Scissorhands as Peg. We've got Bernard Hughes as Grandpa, who was also in Tron as Dr. Walter Gibbs. Edward Herman as Max, who was also in Richie Rich as Richie Rich Sr. and 154 episodes of Gilmore Girls as Richard Gilmore. And last but not least, we can't forget Kiefer Sutherland as David, who was also in 192 episodes of 24 as Jack Bauer.
Hell yeah, he was.
Estimated budget of $8.5 million, grossing $32.5 million. This was filmed in Santa Cruz, Valencia, and Burbank, California, and you can watch this on Plex. Movies that came out around the same time, we have The Untouchables, Harry and the Hendersons, Predator, The Witches of Eastwick, The Brave Little Toaster, Roxanne, Spaceballs, Full Metal Jacket, Blood Diner, Jaws for the Revenge, RoboCop, The Monster Squad, and House 2, The Second Story.
I've seen 7.
7?
Yep.
So you've seen Predator. Oh,
Yep.
Predator, Witches of Eastwick, Brave Little Toaster, Roxanne, Spaceballs. I don't think you've seen Full Metal Jacket.
No.
Like hello? Haven't seen Blood Diner. Haven't seen Jaws 4. RoboCop. Haven't seen Ghoulies 2. Haven't seen Monster Squad. Haven't seen House.
You got one more.
Untouchables?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I watched that in school for some reason.
Oh, boy. So, IMDb summary. When a recently divorced mother and her 2 teenage boys move to a coastal town to stay with her father, it doesn't take long for the brothers to realize the area is a haven for something much more sinister than party-going surfers. This is The Lost Boys.
Michael and Sam have just moved to Santa Carla, California. They're about to discover its secret.
Notice anything unusual about Santa Carla yet?
No. It's a pretty cool place. If you're a Martian.
Or a vampire?
So where are you? The flying nun? I'm your brother, Sammy. Help me! Stay back! Stay back!
What's happening to me, Star?
Get yourself a good sharp steak. Drive it right through his heart.
You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a damn blood-sucking vampire.
Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy. When a vampire bites it, it's never a pretty sight. Michael, they're coming! Oh, shit!
I like that description because what it implies is that both of the brothers are catching on. However, the reality is that the younger brother is catching on. The older brother is actively experiencing it and going, what's happening?
I also like the fact that they mention surfers when we don't see one fucking surfer in this movie.
Yeah, that's true. You don't see them till the second movie
Yeah, so, okay.
where they're vampire surfers.
So, overall thoughts. What do you have?
Like I said, I love this one. It's less, I mean, there are funny moments to it, but overall, I feel like it's more in the horror lane with a lot of vampire movies. They either go full comedy or full horror, and I think it's a nice mix. And yeah, I really like the way they shot the movie, how they move the story along, how you see the vampires. I just think it's a great classic. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my overall thoughts is it's fine. I don't know. It's fine. I don't think it is bad by any means. I don't think it is good though. There's something I'm definitely missing. Because this movie has so much hype behind it. It's got incredible ratings, and I just feel like I am missing something, and I don't know what it is, because this is the second time I watched it. I figured 5 years would give me a completely new perspective on it, and yes, I probably appreciate it a lot more than I did the first time, so I guess it does warrant at least a half-star bump up now that I'm thinking about it. But that's the thing. That's what I That's why I rate movies 2.5, because 2.5 movies to me are just middle of the road. I don't think they're bad and I don't think they're good. This had a lot of good elements to it, but overall as a story and even some of the performances really fell flat for me. So we'll get into it right now. Do you want to start with your likes? Since I have likes, don't get me wrong. I have a few, but do you want to start since I know you're going to have a lot more things to talk about?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'll start off with the like I discussed with you while we were watching the movie, which is that in a lot of these vampire movies, you see vampires just go up and float in the air. And they even make fun of it in What We Do in the Shadows, like how they're just kind of levitating and how silly that can be. And I love that when you get these sweeping flying shots of the vampires, it's from their perspective, because if you had to try to watch them do that, it would look really silly. It would look really cheesy. And there are moments where they're flying, but it's very close. It's like in really close spaces. And a lot of the times, like there's a moment where Michael is being almost sucked out the window. That looks really good because he is also holding onto a phone and being like, what the hell's happening? And they keep the camera in. They don't really pull you back out so you can see how it would just look silly if you zoomed out. And I really appreciate how they put you more in the vampire's perspective for a lot of those longer sweeping shots. Even the opening is a sweeping shot into Santa Carla. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really cool idea, a really smart way to avoid that cheesiness, because any of the comedy in this is intentional comedy. And that's nice.
It is listed as a comedy horror, so. Yeah,
well, it's not, it's funny because it's bad. It's just funny because they made it funny.
Yeah.
In the parts that they did. I also really enjoy the prosthetics, the makeup for the vampires themselves, the overall like aesthetic of the vampires. So they all have their own unique looks, but they're cohesive. Mm-hmm. And you even get a little glimmer of the fact that apparently they get full-on fucking bat feet, which is wild. Because when they're hanging upside down and they look up, you can see that they've got like these bat hook feet thing going on.
Oh, I thought they were just, I guess I missed that because I thought they just had their, their knees swung over and they were hanging by their knees.
No.
That's hilarious.
But it's really funny because they're fully dressed when they do that. So I like to think that they're like, all right, kick off your shoes. It's time to sleep upside down. But yeah, the overall aesthetic's really great. The soundtrack's great. Yeah.
That's it.
The scares were
we'll have more, I'm
scary.
Sure.
Big scare, do fright.
Okay. We're all right. Settle down. So I do like the setting of Santa Monica because I feel, especially like on the pier, beach, whatever. Don't get me wrong. Like when I say things like this, it's because I can't think of anything right off the dome. The only other one I can think of that, and it wasn't even set in Santa Monica the entire time. Of course, in the movie it's Santa Carla, but
that's because Santa Monica wouldn't let him use the name.
Right. So I know Us, the beginning of Us, when she goes into that haunted house, I believe is also set.
It's the same pier.
It's the same pier. So I like that setting. I like the with all the rides. It's not a fair.
It's a boardwalk.
Yeah, okay. It's a boardwalk with a whole bunch of stuff. That's a fun setting for sure. It's a different setting. It's unique. Some of these things are just random things I happen to notice. Like I noticed that Grandpa said double thick Oreos instead of double stuff.
Yeah.
So I looked up when double stuff Oreos came out. They came out in 1974. Crazy. So I don't know if they were called double stuff back then, but I thought that was funny because I'd never heard double thick. I mean, we have to talk about the I Still Believe guy because he has made an entire career off of a fucking 5-minute cameo, or not even cameo.
Well, he was also touring with Tina Turner, so.
I thought he got that gig because of the movie. Am I wrong?
He toured with Tina Turner and then he got this gig, and he still performs and tours today.
Yeah. Anytime
follow him on Facebook.
I don't even care what kind of music it is. Obviously, it's more common in jazz or something like that. But Ghost, for example, one of my favorite bands. There's a song that features a sax, and I love the saxophone. I don't know what it is about that. So anytime I see somebody playing the saxophone in the band. I'm like, hell yeah. And that guy was ripped beyond all belief. He could probably fucking crack my head open like a cantaloupe in between his thighs.
Speaking of which,
Dude
this movie is
buff.
extremely homoerotic, and having the performing artist just be a very greased up, muscular man playing the saxophone just adds to
He
that.
reminds me of the greased up deaf guy from Family Guy, like, you gotta catch me now, and he's running away. Wow. That's what it reminded me of. So, yeah, I mean, the only thing missing from this movie in regarding the homoerotic nature of it is a volleyball scene, like from Top Gun. Like, it's the only thing this movie was missing.
I mean, Jesus, you got the brother has a very special poster of Rob Lowe with his shirt half lifted up.
Yep.
And you're like, that is for girls. Then, like, not to judge your lifestyle, Sam, whatever you want to do, but that is a Rob Lowe poster intended for women and gay men. And unless you're telling us something, but it was only because of Joel Schumacher working with him on a different film. But yeah, there's just like so many lingering looks, so many crop tops.
Well, and riddle me this. Like, at what time did it start becoming more popular for gay characters in cinema? Because I'm trying to think. I mean, probably not till
gay
really.
characters in cinema. There was a period of time early in cinema where there were gay characters in film, and that they were very small films. You probably wouldn't be able to find many now, but they did exist.
Like,
and then you have the MPAA, and then you have like morality boards and things like that shutting it down. It wasn't until we get into like
I was gonna say maybe like
the 80s.
I was gonna say Tu Wong Fu, The Birdcage. Like, that's probably
Those are the 90s, yeah.
Okay.
So, having gay characters became like they could happen. I can't think of anything in the 70s per se, but definitely the 80s, but much more stereotyped. The 2000s was absolutely, I mean, like the 90s was more a time of, there were still absolutely stereotypes. We're still rolling into stereotypes today, but they were running rampant in the 80s and 2000s for sure. 90s had some better representation films,
Yeah.
but it's more the 80s, I think.
Well, I'm wondering, because if they were more stereotypical in the 80s, I'm wondering if movies like this, I mean, it could be totally unintentional, but I'm wondering if they tried to interject something kind of subtle like this as representation for the gay.
Unlikely.
I'm just speculating. Like, I'm just thinking about that and how many times there are those kind of just like clearly sexual tension between like men or women, you know? And I'm just wondering if that was a subtle way of someone kind of being able to kind of, you know, like sneak that in because they wanted to be pro community. Like, I don't know. It's just speculation.
No, in this case, this is more like just happy coincidence than anything. Like, let me put it this way. Xena was a 90s show, and they straight up...
Was that in the first lesbian kiss or something like that?
No.
Oh.
The first lesbian kiss on TV was in an episode of L.A. Law in 1991.
What was that thing that we were watching? Something. It was like Stranger Things, where they showcased the first lesbian kiss on Buffy.
Willow and Tara kissing on Buffy.
Okay.
That was also...
I thought you said that was the first one.
There's a couple.
Okay.
That was also the 90s.
Okay.
And Xena, that show, like, you'd be hard-pressed to miss that those two become a couple. Even when I was younger, I'm like, you know, you kind of pick up on it. But they weren't allowed to make them a couple. So they did everything they could to insinuate it as much as possible because they were straight up told they were not allowed.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I was just wondering when it became, I guess, you know, from the MPAA standpoint, like when it was considered them for like, all right, we can do this now, because you know, you see it very rarely in movies, and like you said, most of the time it's just kind of that stereotypical character.
Yeah, I mean, like if you think of Mannequin, you've got Hollywood.
Oh yeah,
who is just a raging gay man. And yeah, so in this time it would be very unsubtle. It would be very
and even
a lot of the smaller film, if you have indie directors or a lot of more subversive directors, you'd be better pressed to find
Wasn't there also a really stereotypical gay character in Tammy and the T-Rex? Didn't she have a really just over the
Yes.
And we were like, I love this character, but it's like
also because the cops kept saying ragingly homophobic things.
because he was also a person of color too.
That was rough.
So anyways, back to Lost Boys. Yeah, there's definitely some homoerotic tension between Michael and mainly I'd say more on David's side than anything towards Michael. Clearly he's in love with him, which is just a fun little interjection there. I also really love the look of the vampire biker gang. I mean, it's I love it. It's super 80s. Kiefer Sutherland's got a mullet. They've got piercings. They've got leather and boots and dirt bikes. It's a fucking vibe for sure. And I absolutely hate that I was never a part of a group like that. You know, it's one of my biggest regrets.
Yeah, it makes me sad so often that if we were to wear outfits like that in public, people would be like, the fuck are you wearing?
Leave me alone. And stylistically too, kind of segueing from the look of the biker gang, stylistically, the movie looks really good. There's a lot of good backdrops. There's a lot of good camera work. There's a lot of good sets. The wardrobe, it's got an aesthetic. I mean, there's one scene in particular that really stood out to me is when Michael is being chased by the biker gang through the all the smoke and all the fog.
Oh, when they're on the bike, they're racing on the motorcycles.
That was such an incredibly shot scene. It looked so fucking good, and I really loved a lot of the camera work in this movie for sure. Funny thing I noticed about Sam's bedroom is he did have a poster for School Reform Girls, which is like a super deep cut. I think it's late 80s movie. I saw that and I was like, nice poster. Love that. And then one of the funniest parts of the movie that I cackled at was when they are going to borrow Grandpa's car. They're in Grandpa's car, driving past Grandpa, like, hey, can we borrow your car? Bye. I love that. He's like,
I just like when they
pounding in fence posts and it's like, oh, sure. Okay.
When they come back, it's like, hey, do you know about the rule about putting gas in my car after you borrow it without permission? No, Grandpa. Well, now you do.
Now you do. Fill up my fucking car. Do you think so it's interesting to me because he's always drinking that red fucking liquid out of the bottles, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the movie, he says, it's the one thing I hate about Carla is all those damn vampires. But we get this weird suspicion on this watch that he's subtly some sort of vampire. Because why is he always drinking that red shit? What is that red shit?
He likes his soda pop.
Red soda? That's rare. I don't know.
I don't think he's a vampire, but I just like that.
I should have looked it up.
He knows. He doesn't say shit to anybody about it. They're all running around trying to not only hide it from him, but make sure he's safe. And he's like, yeah, fucking vampires, man.
And that's like one of my... It's a like and it's a dislike because I think it's hilarious that he knew the whole time, but it's also like, bro, you couldn't have maybe mentioned this at some point.
He probably is just over here like these fucking teenagers and their wacky antics.
Goddamn teenagers getting into shenanigans. What is there anything else that you enjoy? There's got to be something else in here. I mean, you love this movie.
Grandpa, yeah,
of course, yeah. Grandpa's another like vibe.
No, I think it's a great cast. I think you've got this dark, gritty. I say teenager, but like honestly, they all look like minimum 20. Vampire story going on one side, but on the other side, you've got Goonies happening with the younger brother and the other two, and these two playing like tough as like we're so tough and we know what we're doing, and they finally actually killed their first vampire, and they're playing mind games with them. They opened their eyes and moved. Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
Greatest. No, I'll save my favorite line for that part. And
the fact that they explode into glitter, and all the vampires die in different ways too. Like, I really enjoy that because you don't just see the same kill over and over again. They're all just different from each other.
I didn't see one explode into glitter. Was I in another room?
Oh no! After they stake Marco in the cave. When you see the Frog Brothers running out, they are covered in goop that is also heavily filled with glitter.
Oh, I guess I just missed the glitter. Yeah, I mean, that was also pretty cool. It just kind of confused me because I didn't understand why they were all dying in different ways. I think the biggest example of that is the guy who falls into the tub of onions and holy water.
That's garlic.
Sorry. Garlic. And holy water, and I love that scene so much. But then, yeah, everyone kept dying kind of in a different way, and it was confusing to me because it's like, don't they all die in the same way? No? Okay. So I did kind of like that. It was a bit confusing for me, and that's kind of segues into my dislikes about this movie is it just wasn't consistent enough with enough lore for me. For example, vampires eating real food. They were able to eat real food, no problem. That's not usually typical.
That's 50-50 because some of them it's a hard no, and other ones they can no problem.
I would say for the majority at least of what I've seen in vampires, that they're typically not allowed to eat real food. Garlic apparently has no effect on anybody in this one because when that guy. Or when they lure one of the vampires into the bathroom and it's just filled with garlic and he's like, haha, that doesn't work on us, boys. So it's like, okay, that's another thing that doesn't work. There was something else that also didn't work on the vampires. Oh, this isn't something that didn't work on them, but the lore of how you're turned into a vampire. I wasn't a fan of this because you have to drink the blood of the elder. And then later on, you just have to, you have to do your first kill. And it's, I don't know. For me, I like the one where you're bitten by a vampire and then they feed you their blood. It just makes more sense because what if you just randomly happened across that and you drank it and then you were wondering why the hell you were feeling so funky and you're not going to feel right until you kill someone. What if no one, they didn't tell him in this movie that you had to go do that, so he was just going to be fucking in limbo for TBD?
Which is funny because in Vampire Diaries that comes up a few times. I told you in that one you have to you have to die with vampire blood in your system.
Right. And
then you have 24 hours to you basically have to the next sunrise to drink blood. Mm-hmm. And the number of instances where they're like, what the fuck is happening to me? But it is implied that the bloodlust does just get stronger over time.
Right.
So you're going to be forced to feed or you're going to just die because you don't know how the fuck it works. But because if that's what satiates and that's what fuels vampires, if you don't feed on the blood, you'd in theory you'd
wither away and die.
You pretty much just wither away. You desiccate. There we go. That's the one.
There you go.
But they don't get so deep into that because you really don't need to in this instance. But yeah, it's supposed to be implied that it gets harder and harder to resist.
Okay.
Drinking the actual feeding.
Yeah, that's not something they actually explain. And even the fact that Star doesn't tell Michael what's going on with him when he's when he's basically in his transformation into vampire. I understand not telling the general public, but not telling someone that they need to complete this transformation is just insane to me. It's like going up to someone and say, hey, I know a secret about you. And then when they ask, you're like, I don't know. But that does get later explained with, because technically Michael was supposed to be Star's first kill, but finish that thought for me because I already forgot.
So David was going to have Star kill Michael, but that plan changed up pretty quickly because the real head vampire wanted Michael's mother and wanted to turn her sons into vampires. So obviously he wasn't going to let that happen. And now, David was re-instructed to turn him.
So I understand why she didn't tell him in that instance for sure. But then there was also something else that happened that you tried to say was related to that. And I was like, no, I don't like that at all.
Oh, because she couldn't tell him what was going on. So she was likely told that she was not allowed to say it. Like David wanted to do it because in a lot of vampire lore, you are compelled to follow your maker. You're compelled to listen to your maker.
Well, she can listen to her maker and not tell Michael about stuff, but she can sure bone the hell out of him. Was that not on the list of things she couldn't do? Like, hey, maybe don't fuck Michael?
No.
Okay. Oh, man. A couple other random problems I have is Corey Feldman finding the need to wear a fucking bandana in like 90% of his movie. Is that just in his contract?
It could be.
I gotta wear this. And then his voice, like he's doing this really deep voice where I don't know what that was, but it was a fucking choice. I think Sam's reaction to finding out his brother is a vampire wasn't even shock. It just seemed like annoyance. He was more kind of annoyed. He's like, oh, God, really?
He was annoyed when he thought Michael did something to his dog, but he's like, you're a vampire. Ah!
Yeah, I did not like Sam's acting very much. It really felt kind of phoned in. Wasn't a big fan of his performance. No offense to Corey Haim. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I just wasn't a fan of him in this. But then my last biggest problem was I needed more David. And I know the focal point of the movie is Michael and his struggle of becoming a vampire and all of that stuff, but I felt like I thought I remembered there being so much more of David and his gang, and there is a shockingly small amount of the Lost Boys. Like,
yeah, it's funny because Kiefer Sutherland, I think, was surprised by how little dialogue and screen time he had in this.
Right.
But however, he has the most dialogue and screen time of all of the Lost Boys.
Yeah, true.
So, but again, I think a lot of that was intentional to, they give you the information you need to make it make sense, but they keep a lot of stuff close to the chest.
That's true. That's
to keep them scary, mysterious, and most importantly, cool and sexy.
Well, and Kiefer Sutherland was also sixth billed in this, so makes sense as to why he didn't have so much screen time. But the question I have for you, which we kind of talked about when we were watching it, is the moment when they actually show their hand that they're vampires to Michael. I mean, I guess since I knew this was a vampire movie before I went into it, it might have totally not been marketed that way when it came out in the 80s, especially with the IMDb summary. I mean, it doesn't mention vampires in there at all. It just mentions the fact that these people are not who they seem. That's it. So it's entirely possible that even because I haven't looked at the trailer yet to put in the episode, but if the trailer doesn't really show any vampire activity, then it's entirely possible this was not marketed as a vampire movie per se. So was that scene when they showed their hand of being a vampire supposed to be like a whoa moment? Because it was already almost established before that the suspicion of him being a vampire was pretty prevalent. So
because you'd already kind of seen some stuff where it's confirmed that some wacky shit's going on with him, and you already had the Frog Brothers give Sam a vampire magazine,
which was really on the nose. I love that.
Or comic book, rather.
Yeah.
I don't think it was supposed to be a shock so much as not only are you a vampire, but you're going to fucking look like this and you're a monster. So it wasn't, oh, you just have fangs. You are now going to vamp out and murder people. Like, it was really, this is the moment that not only is it confirmed that that's what's going on, but you see the full extent of what that looks like and what that means.
Yeah.
Because then you also watch him, not only do they reveal their faces, so now you know they look fucking scary when they vamp out, but then you watch them massacre a bunch of dudes who were just frolicking around a bonfire listening to rock tunes, listening to Aerosmith.
Yeah, okay.
So then he really sees the full weight of what the fuck is going on with him and going, oh shit, this is a problem.
Okay.
So I don't think it was supposed to be a major reveal. I think it was more like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, and thinking about it now, I guess it was more of the reveal of, because if you have a certain expectation of what you think vampires are just from reading material, reading comic books, and they're not described as the way of what he just saw, it could be horrifying for him. Like, oh, I just thought vampires were going about their business would find maybe like homeless people or just animals to feed off of. But not only are they feeding off of humans, they're feeding off of humans that didn't do anything, and they're just brutally attacking them. So maybe
all the homeless people that are doing stuff.
Yeah, Well, I'm just saying, maybe you had a different idea of what vampire it entailed to be a vampire. Maybe since he drank the blood of the elder, maybe that was assumed that that's just all they drank was blood from the elder or something. I mean, there's many avenues you can go down, but yeah, I guess it was more the fact that like, hey, this is what we look like, and we fuck people up. So it was more about, man, this is the brutality behind being a vampire, as opposed to just being, hey, we're vampires. So,
yeah, because I mean, think about it. Most vampire movies before this, their faces didn't change that aggressively.
I mean,
Dracula is just Dracula the whole time.
His face doesn't change yet. I think the only thing that changes are maybe some fangs. But
yeah,
that's about it.
Blackula.
He got a little different.
Get a little different, but not like aggressive amounts. He got like a little hairier. I think he got some more aggressive eyebrows.
He just pretty much had some makeup on his face to look him a little bit more intimidating, but it wasn't like that.
But so if that's all your lore, at that point you have, and then you see these things with these big foreheads and these crazy brow ridges and like yellow red eyes. Be like, fuck, man.
Yeah, those yellow red eyes really sold it for me. I loved the complete change of how their eyes looked. It was really cool.
Buffy's vampire makeup was heavily inspired by this, and they also used the term what?
They also used the term vamp out from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuckers on my damn trivia.
Sorry.
Should have known. You would have known that. Okay, well, let's move on here to hot takes. You should know my hot take at this point. Again, I don't get all the hype. I don't think it's as great as everyone says it is. But again, now that I have a little bit more of an understanding of things, which is exactly what I like about discussing movies, it's entirely possible I can start to see the merit. But it's like Hellraiser for me every time I watch but I've also watched Hellraiser many more times than this, and I don't understand why everyone likes it. So I'm going to continue to watch this here and there and just see if I can ever fully just get what's going on. So I
will say, you should go in with the mindset that Joel Schumacher, despite me enjoying most of his films, he's not a subtle director. And if you think this whole film is vampires looking cool, mysterious, and sexy, that's 100% what he was going for, and that's the point.
Okay.
So it's not supposed to be that deep.
Yeah, for me, there's never really a point I'm like hooked into the movie. There's not a part that grabs me, pulls me in, and keeps me there the whole time. It's just kind of a passive watching for me. So is there what's the moment for you that really draws your attention in?
When they're walking on the carousel in slow motion in the opening. Because you're like, cool boys, I'm walking on the carousel. What are they doing?
I'm also never really lost, though, either. So, again, it's just such a passive viewing experience for me where I don't like it. I don't hate it. I'm not hooked. I'm not lost. It's just a movie.
Yeah.
It's just a movie. You're never lost. I don't even need to ask.
Yeah.
Horror moment for me is when, I mentioned this earlier, is when the vampire goes into the tub of garlic and holy water and starts to dissolve, and then a skeleton pops out, goes back down, and then all this goopy shit just starts shooting out of the sinks. That was fucking great. 10 out of 10 experience there. What about you for horror moment?
When they massacre all those random dudes at the bonfire, because like that scared the shit out of me, because he bites one guy's neck and blood starts spurting everywhere, and then it abruptly cuts to one of them getting scalped, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
Yeah. It's so brief, but that shit lived rent free in my head for such a long time.
Favorite kill for me is, I'm pretty sure it is Alex Winter.
Marco.
Yeah, where he's upside down and gets stabbed and just gets sprayed in goop.
Yep.
That was a really cool one, because the stake goes through and it kind of smokes a little bit and then just goop goes everywhere. But I also love the idea of vampires hanging upside down, because typically they're in coffins or, with their dirt. So I can't really think of a movie where you just see them upside down like that in a cave. So I thought that was really cool. Favorite kill for you?
Probably David, because I like that everybody else has these big aggressive deaths, and then like as he's fighting, he gets speared on those antlers, and then he just dies quietly and peacefully, just like so serene as he dies. Which is just wild. Like it's just like, and he's gone now,
and that's it.
And the body doesn't just automatically, disappear. It just doesn't go blink. It doesn't explode. You would like. Honestly, you'd like True Blood, because when vampires get staked in that, it's just poof, blood.
If they could just remove all of the unnecessary sex, I'd probably watch it. But then the episodes would probably be about 4 minutes long.
They'd be like, you're cutting the time in half there, man.
My favorite character was Nanook, the husky.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
He real boy.
And he made it to the end. So
He good boy.
What about you, David?
No, honestly, it's Grandpa.
Oh, wow.
It's Grandpa. Grandpa's just living his own life and doesn't give a shit what everybody else is doing, but don't fuck with his flow, okay? He's like using fucking Windex to go on a date as cologne. Kills me. Man is just unabashedly himself.
Yeah.
And you know how much I like that in a character.
Oh, you gotta love that. Least favorite character for me is Edgar Frog, Corey Feldman. I could not stand the voice he was doing. It's so awful. What about you? But he's also a weird dude, so.
Yeah, well, he's had some bad things happen to him.
That's fair.
Yeah, the Frog Brothers sometimes just were a little too much. You know how I feel about child actors, and sometimes they were just hitting it too hard.
Just a bit. So.
That I just said that.
Oh, okay.
The
Sorry.
Frog Brothers.
Oh, both of them. Got it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Lost Boys. I think I'll butt my rating up just a little bit. Just a skosh. So, closing arguments, thoughts, concerns, anything you have?
I'm concerned that you don't like this movie.
I know. I'm sorry. So, taglines here. Let's move to the post-review stuff. Taglines, we have sleep all day, party all night, never grow old, never die. It's fun to be a vampire, entirely too long. And being wild is in their blood. Trivia, when asked why he did the film, director Joel Schumacher simply said, vampires are hot. They're the only erotic monsters. Frankenstein, not hot. Timmy Campello, as the oily saxophone player on the dock, made a name for himself by playing in the touring band of Tina Turner during her spectacular comeback tour of the mid-1980s. Okay. Got it. The movie invented the phrase vamp out, which then passed to common usage on the TV series Buffy, as we mentioned. The movie was filmed in Santa Cruz, California. Santa Cruz is Spanish for Holy Cross, which is an interesting connection given the vampire subject matter and their vulnerability to crucifixes. I don't think crucifixes came up one fucking time, actually. Did they come up?
I don't remember.
I don't think crucifixes came up. Someone correct me. Kiefer Sutherland's father, Donald Sutherland, was in a vampire movie 5 years later, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 1992.
He indeed was.
Goofs, the shot of the approach to the cave was filmed and then played backwards. Rated 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 3.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd, has a 75% on the tomato meter, and an 85% audience score. You gave this a 5, didn't you?
I gave it a 4.5.
Oh. All right. Well, in the pursuit of being more fair, because I told myself I would be more fair with movies this year, I'm going to bump it from a 2.5 to a 3, but I'm not going to give it a heart. One of the few movies that has a 3 and not a heart. Similar movies according to Letterboxd. We have Fright Night 1985, Fright Night 2011, probably, even though it says 201, Twilight Near Dark, and Queen of the Damned. Similar movies according to IMDb. We have Fright Night 1985, Lost Boys the Tribe, An American Werewolf in London, Interview with the Vampire, and Lost Boys the Thirst. So I don't know what that werewolf movie did.
Creature feature.
Interjecting itself in there. Did you get some funny reviews?
Yes.
Oh, shit. How many do you have?
3.
3. I've got many, much more than you.
You got to really pare those down a little.
Well, I always bring extra just in case we double dip. So, no. Why don't you go first, and then we'll see if I have any that I can delete.
Okay. 4.5 stars from Adam Bolt. Oh, to live in a world with as many neon lights as a Joel Schumacher movie.
5 stars from Ghoulia's Yelps. This movie is basically just David getting pissed off because his crush Michael doesn't like him back.
There's going to be a theme to these, isn't there?
Yeah.
4.5 stars from Lily. There's an exclamation point. Trade offer. You get a chance to join my cool gay punk rock platinum blonde fashionista gang club. I get to turn you into a vampire because I'm quirky and in a silly, goofy mood.
3.5 stars from Patrick. Corey Feldman talking in a deep adult voice for the entire movie was such a choice.
I saw that one. 5 stars from Haley. Michael, we all know what you are. I can sense a fellow bisexual from a mile away.
I'll go one with that pairs with that perfectly. 5 stars from Danny. Michael, if you bisexual, just say that. 4 stars from Emily. If you look like Michael with a single dangle earring, please DM me. And 5 stars from Caitlin. Imagine you're so repressed that you turn your crush into a vampire instead of just talking to him. Unbelievable mood.
Yeah, and putting together that costume because I dressed as David for Halloween before the year I got pregnant. It was a few years ago now. I dressed as David, and that was a fun time trying to get that costume. I went sans wig because getting a convincing platinum mullet wig was not in the cards, man.
So I found one that someone else feels the same way. It's 2.5 stars from Dakota. I wanted to like this, and I don't know what I'm missing. Broken heart emoji. Same girl. I don't know. So I bumped it up to a 3, but that's the best I can do for now. I still will give this movie many more chances. Don't you worry.
You don't have a choice.
And we're going to also watch those trash sequels.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because I bought that for you. So if you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and / your app at frightmarespodcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor. You are...
Watson LMP 90.
Boo-yah. Next week, Corey and I will be back doing They Live from 1988. So until then, stay tuned and...
Stay spooky.